Hey, how are you? Matt Heisler here. Just wanted to send everyone an update. It's been a very interesting year. Thought I would give a little report here to wrap up what the market is really like. A lot of news out there about it. And also do a little bit of a preview for what we're probably going to end up seeing next year. So, okay, well, some of this might get a little spooky. So the market up to this point was, I think most of us know, the early part of the year was all pandemic pricing. So lots of offers, lots of bid wars, not a lot of discipline by people who were buying. And that happened even as rates started to go up. So, but eventually the rates went up high enough where we started to see buyer enthusiasm diminish. And that happened around June. And rates kept going up, buyer sentiment kept going down, and so now we're at a point where the market is pretty balanced. So we know that it's balanced because houses are still selling, but the ones that are overpriced are not selling, and houses that have significant condition issues or houses that are in tougher locations, they're selling more slowly. So they're still selling, but we're starting to see market time build up on some of the ones that normally would have market time. There's nothing unnormal about this. There's nothing strange about this. It's just a return to normal, which feels very unnormal because of what's been going on. Spooky headline alert. Okay, so there's been a lot of spooky headlines out there. Some of my favorites are that builders are cutting prices. Well, builders are cutting prices because they raise prices so fast that they can't sell anything with the prices that they were getting 6 months ago. So they have to cut prices. But the prices that they're still selling these houses at are up 20 to 25% over where they were 2 years ago. So I'm not really sure that that indicates that there are significant problems in the real estate market. So we're seeing in a similar vein that, resales, that those sellers are cutting prices. Listen, cutting prices is what happens in a normal market. So in a normal market, about 25 to 30% of the houses come on overpriced. Sometimes it's even more. And today, a lot of the sellers are impatient. They want to sell in 30 days, and they're willing to bring the prices down in order to make that happen. So we're still not seeing a lot of sellers cut prices, and they're not cutting prices very far. So I think that those headlines are really overdone. And the big one that that you'll see a lot of times is they say, "Well, sales are down." What they really mean is transactions are down. But transactions are down is because there's nothing to buy. It really, the fact that there are fewer transactions doesn't mean prices are falling. It only means prices are falling if inventory at the same time is going up, which it is not. So, inventory levels still remain a good 30 to 35% below where they were pre-pandemic. And the pre-pandemic market was no picnic for buyers. It's not like that was a soft market. So it was just a lot softer than the current one. So, or I should say during the pandemic one. So I think the markets are probably right about where they were before. So the market till year end, listen, this time of year, not a lot of stuff comes on. So, people get really focused on the holidays, the weather gets colder. Typically, not a lot of stuff comes on, but there's still buyers out there. A lot of them are getting um, impacted by the news cycle, which has been very negative, so they're very cautious. But they're still out there. There's not nearly as many of them because the buyers get busy this time of year too. They have holidays and vacations and all the other stuff that everyone else has. It's a tougher time to buy a house. So we see diminished enthusiasm, but ultimately there's still probably the same number of buyers as there are home sellers. So there's not a lot of deals, but the good news is, I think for everyone, is that the pricing is a lot more rational. It looks to me like the prices make sense, that they're following traditional pricing patterns. That makes it easier for everyone to figure out what they're going to get and what they're going to have to pay. And that's good news for everyone, it really is. So for next year, I think that we're going to see that there are more sellers, but nowhere near enough for a large drop in prices. There's not enough new construction around here to drive supply to a level where there's going to have to be pullback in prices. Um, I think that there's going to be more buyers because interest rates are going to stop going up, or they may even retreat a little bit. We've seen that a little bit over the last 2 weeks. I think there's probably more of that in store as the spring kind of gets underway, and I suspect inflation will look a lot tamer once we get past February, and that will kind of ease things a little bit for the market of interest rates and the real estate market in general. So we might see a pullback in prices, like that wouldn't surprise me, but a lot of folks think that we're going to see this big whoosh down, and we're not. We're not going to see it as long as people don't list, and they're not going to list because a lot of folks have they've already refinanced, and they're not going to give up that loan. They're not going to give up a 3.1 to go get a 5.8. Like that's just a really hard thing to do. So we're going to see the number of people that want to sell be very constrained. I think overall that means that the number of transactions is going to drop sharply. So we're going to see a lot more headlines where transactions are down over last year. But again, it doesn't mean the prices are down. It just means that the number of houses for sale is going down. Some of the best deals out there might be houses that need a lot of work, and I think that's going to be because I think contractor prices are going to fall. They are going to come in as fewer people get home equity lines, and that typically drives a lot of their business. And so I think for the first time in a long time, the houses that need work are probably going to get sold at the best deals, and you're going to be able to build some equity as long as you're not afraid of hiring some contractors to do stuff. This isn't like paint and carpet. This is kitchen remodels, bath remodels, but there's going to be opportunities there for buyers to definitely make some elbow equity, as we like to call it. So, or checkbook equity if you're not really doing any elbows. So that would be the report today. If you have any questions, see, it wasn't too spooky. So, but if you have any questions, just feel free to reach out. I hope you enjoyed the report.